Hello, beautiful people, and welcome. In today's video, we're going to be talking about X and Y intercepts. As always, disclaimer time, if I make a mistake, I am human. Let me know where the mistake occurs so that way we both can learn from it. Now, I went ahead and I drew my X and Y axis. Now, it's super important to know which one's which. So the X axis is the horizontal line, this way here. That's your X axis. The Y axis is the vertical line here. So when we're talking about X and Y axis, so the X intercept is going to be on the X axis and the Y intercept is going to be on the Y axis. Let's actually take a moment to write that down. So the X intercept is a point on the X axis. And so the opposite is true. The Y-intercept is a point on the Y-axis. So let's go ahead and I'm going to highlight that so we can color code things. So the X-intercept is on the X-axis. The Y-intercept on the Y-axis. Now, what is an intercept? What is it? Well, it's super important that you know, and I want you to repeat it over and over. An X-intercept and a Y-intercept is a point. Now, when we write a point, so a point, it has an X and a Y value. So when we write a point, you're going to see something like X and Y. There's a relationship between X and Y. So for your X-intercept, it is a point. So there means there has to be an X and Y on the X-axis. A Y-intercept is a point. That means there's going to be an X and a Y. That's an X. All right. So how will it look like? Let's go back to our original. Let's say we have a line. And this line, I'm going to use a ruler here, be all fancy. And this line looks like this. Again, when we are drawing lines, they have to have arrows on both sides. And so let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the X-intercept is on the X-axis. It is a point. So for X-axis, your Y value, you're going to have a number for X, but your Y value is going to be 0. Now for your Y-intercept, your 0 is going to be in for X, and you're going to have a number for Y. Get it? Y, Y, X, X. So for the X-intercept, you're going to have 6, 0. So 6 is the number where you have an intersection on the X-axis. And then here's your Y. Y is 0, 4, because 4 is where your line is crossing the Y-axis. So what is the X-intercept? 6, 0. What is your Y-intercept? 0, 4. Now, there are other ways to find out X-intercept and Y-intercept. Let's say the graph is not given, and instead you have an equation. So when the graph is not given, so you have an equation. Then you have step number 2. So you have an equation. Step number 1 is take that equation. Step number 2, to solve for X-axis, make Y equals 0 and solve for x. Step number 3, to solve for y. Ooh, you guys see that I wrote axis? We're not solving for the actual axis. We're solving for the intercept. Let me change that. This should be X intercept. So if we're solving for the Y-intercept, we're going to do the opposite. So you're going to make X be 0 and solve for Y. Now, step number 4, you need to always remember that an intercept, X and Y intercepts, are points. So you need to remember there are points. And now for the X and Y intercepts, so you're going to have an X value and a Y value for both. So when you're writing your X and Y intercept. So for the X intercept, you're going to have a number for X and 0 for Y. For the Y intercept, you're going to have 0 for X and a number for Y. All right, beautiful people, let's do some examples. All right, let's go ahead and go through some examples. Now, example number 1, this equation is in slope, intercept form. We're going to be talking a little bit more about slope-intercept form in our next video. But for right now, I just want you to be aware that this is in slope-intercept form. So what we need to do is we need to set y and x equal to 0, but separately. So for the first one, 0 is equal to 3x plus 8. Why? Because y is 0. And then the next one is we have y equals 3 times 0 plus 8. So again, the difference is this is y equals 0 and this is x equals 0. All right, let's continue. So let's solve this for x. So I'm going to subtract 8 both sides. Here's my dotted line. So I have negative 8 is equal to 3x. I'm going to divide by 3 both sides. That's 1. X is equal to negative 8/3. Now, because x is the number that is our x-intercept, at the end, the letter you have is the intercept. So what does it mean to be an intercept? Well, an intercept is just a point. Because this is x, we're going to put it in our x spot. And then y is going to be 0. And that, you kind of can't see it, but that is an 8. There you go. That's an 8/3. All right, let's do the next one. Same thing. Now, it's really cool. Anytime you multiply by 0, just put your finger over it. That's just 0. So I have 0 plus 8 equals y. So y is equal to 8. This one's a little bit more easy. So again, what are we trying to do? Is y is 8. So when we have here, x is going to be 0, y is going to be 8. And then this is our intercept. This is our y-intercept because I have the value of y. And this is our x-intercept because I have the value of x. Now, if we have an equation in this form, so this is not slope-intercept form, this is standard form. So if we have an equation like this, again, same thing. One of them, you're going to put y, or in this case, we can put x as 0. Everything else stays the same. The other one, we can put y as 0. Everything else stays the same. A trick here is anything that has multiplication with 0, just put your finger over it. What do you have left over? I have 7y is equal to 35. Here's 7 times 0. Put your finger over it. What do you have left over? 5x and 35. Again, we're going to solve. So I'm going to divide both sides by 7. So y is equal to 5. Same thing here. I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So that means x is equal to x is equal to 7. Again, so look at the letter that you have left over. This is y. So that means we have the y-intercept. X is going to be 0. This right here is x. So that means I have an x-intercept and y is going to be 0. So be careful. This is x. This is y. So this one here, we have a y. So that means this one is our y-intercept. This one here is our x-intercept. And let's do one more example. Same thing like we're doing before. Make x 0, everything else stays the same. Make y 0, everything else stays the same. So you have two equations always for your x and for your y-intercept. So then, again, take your finger, put it over the term that is being multiplied by 0. What do you have left over? I have left over 1/2 y is equal to 10. Put your finger over the term with the 0. What do you have left over? And 6x is equal to 10. So here we have 1/2. So how do you get rid of 1/2? I'm going to times both sides by 2. So that means I have 2 times 1/2 y, and I have 10 times 2. My 2's cancel out, so I have y is equal to 20. On this side here, I have 6x is equal to 10. I'm going to divide both sides by 6. X is equal to, now this is 10/6. However, I can divide 2 top and bottom. So you have to make sure you have it simplified. So where do we have it? We have it 3, so 5/3. Again, this is your x, so you have your x-intercept, meaning you put your number in the x spot. This is your y-intercept. You put your number in the y spot, and the other number is 0. All right, beautiful people, that is it. We're going to do more examples in class. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.